Montgomery County has joined more than 140 age-friendly communities across the country. Find out what that means on this episode of Connecting Our Community, which is coming up next. I'm Pat Shoemaker, and welcome to this episode of Connecting Our Community. Joining me tonight are Marcia Pruzan, a senior fellow for Age-Friendly Montgomery County, and Lily Fisher, who is with Montgomery County's Dementia Friendly Initiative. So it sounds like we're going to be talking about senior citizens. Is that what age-friendly means?
Well, age-friendly really means being friendly to all ages, but we do have a big population in this county, all over the country, all over the world, that is aging rapidly. So age-friendly means looking for the programs and services that will keep people in the community, let them live, thrive, grow older, and be able to stay in their community. We call it a community for a lifetime.
So age-friendly community is not the same as a retirement village, retirement home, or what we used to, think of as all of the older people housed in the same general area. That's something totally different, or is it just a new
we're talking about
fancy
Montgomery
name?
County being a welcoming place for people to live in and grow old in and stay in and have the services and support they need. It emerged from, age-friendly is a concept of the World Health Organization and the AARP. And there are communities all across the country that have adopted this, all across the world, but all across the country. And what we do in the county is that every facet of county government that in any way touches a senior's life is now geared up to develop programs and services and look at them all the time as needs change as we grow older, and make sure that we're doing all we can to support our aging population. And we have a very diverse population too. So we have to try to hit all corners of all of our communities.
So in these age-friendly communities, is there a certain age that is considered someone who's eligible to live there? Is it, let me take a step back, is it people who are living in Kensington or Rockville or wherever, and suddenly their home, because they are aging, their home is an age-friendly community, or
No, it's because our community is welcoming to them no matter where they're living.
Okay.
If they're living in our community, we want to be welcoming and supportive no matter where they're living. And so every department it's a public-private partnership, so we're working with all the government agencies, the county government agencies, a lot of nonprofits, faith-based businesses, and everybody. We're working in partnership with these different groups so that we're all looking at every facet of life here in the county, whether it's transportation or health and wellness or communication, or we have, vital, happy, well seniors who are very active in the community, and then we have others who need more support. So we want to be sure that everyone has the support services they need, and the activities and the places to go and things to do that keep them happy and happy living here.
Yeah, and at different levels of mental capacity brings me to Lily, who works with the Dementia Friendly Initiative. So how does that tie into the age-friendly community that we just were talking about?
Great question. So I think one of the biggest things is that the idea of age-friendly and dementia-friendly is this universal concept of what is a community. So when Montgomery County joined age-friendly and dementia-friendly initiatives, it was this idea of our entire region being a welcoming community. So whether people lived in their own home, whether they lived in an assisted living, whether they were a caregiver, whether they were someone who actually was younger, getting older, that the idea is that Montgomery County adopts, promotes, and encourages all aspects of the community to feel comfortable with aging, to really be willing to step up when there are parts of the community that may be having challenges associated with ageing. So we work so well in partnership together because the county's taken that inspiration to have it that ageing is now a concept to celebrate.
That's different. Because I think for so long, people who were aging, I'm in there, people who are aging were sort of considered to be not part of the community, not a necessary or vital part of the community in any way, and sort of moved aside and let the younger people take
You know,
forth.
right now, I mean, the county has such a large older population, and so many of them are living healthy, active lives, and they contribute so much to our community. They volunteer in the community, they still work in the community, they pay taxes, they mentor kids, kids mentor seniors. So they really are big contributors into the county, although there certainly are seniors who need more help.
Yeah. So the idea,
That's-
I'm sorry, the idea is not that you are removing seniors, whatever age. And what age is that considered?
We talk about 50 and older, 60 and
Oh,
older.
really?
It changes. It depends on who you're talking to and what the program is.
And possibly the state of health of the person as well?
Not so much the
No,
state of health.
Just
no.
the age, okay. But this is not a concept of removing that person of whatever age from the home where he or she has been living to a restricted community of any sort. It's helping people live in the place where they have always lived, but making things easier and more friendly for them in their own homes and communities.
And to have it that concept of self-determination. Baby boomers, which are going to be our largest demographic in the next 10, 20 years, are folk who really have come of age being self-determined. So they are more likely going to be making choices that are radically different from, say, their parents and their grandparents, which will mean that they're more likely to choose to stay living in their own home. And then the important part of it is that through both of our initiatives, the county and those public-private partners that we were talking about, they realise that it's that time to step up. It's the time to be looking ahead of what are the needs going to be for a demographic of people who are going to be demanding services to be delivered in a radically different way than historically, where people maybe stepped back a little bit and resided in a single location. We already have, and it's going to continue to increase, where people of all ages continue to live throughout the county rather than, as you said, marginalise them.
Yeah, and that's such a radical change. What are all the, this just popped into my head, I don't know if you have the answer, but what are all of the nursing homes and senior citizen centers that are currently operating going to do? How do they feel about this concept? Are they on board?
Well, that's actually a really good segue into Dementia Friendly America. We have our Continuum of Care work group that is made up of care providers, residential facilities, who are actively working with other partners in the county to better understand those needs and look at this as being both a town planning issue, to look at it as how do we use resources, and how do we, whether it's the private partners, e.g. the ones who have the care facilities, or the county that provides services through various government programs, how do we deliver those valuable services in ways, once again, that aren't centralised, that really require of all of us to be going to the older adult rather than having the old-fashioned way, which was people just all congregated.
Yeah, and that sort of blows my mind because it is the complete reversal of everything that we have, for the past however many years, been trained to do and to react that, oh, this person is getting older, we must take him or her and put that person with all the other people who are like-minded, like-aged. And I'm surprised actually that there isn't a resistance to that from younger people or from government. So you had a full buy-in to do this. That's amazing.
We did a lot of research with seniors before we adopted the age-friendly program, and staying in their home and staying in their community, even if they can't stay in their own home, it's important to them. That was one thing that I think we all know that most seniors want to do. They want to stay in their home and or their community.
Yeah.
So it's not a thought that they have to be in their home if they're not able to be in their home, but where possible, that's what people want.
Yeah. That is such a wonderful thing, and you know, I just can't wait to talk about the rest of it and how other people can get involved and what the standards are and things like that, but we're just approaching our first break. So we will be talking more about how people can get involved. Do you have to be specially trained? Do you have to have any qualifications or anything like that? Will you be able to tell us all about that when we come
absolutely.
back? All right. Please stay with us and we'll be back right after these messages.
I'm Officer Reyes with Montgomery County Department of Police out of the Special Operations Division, and I'm the main coordinator of our Autism, IDD, which is Intellectual Developmental Disabilities, Alzheimer's and Dementia Outreach Program. And our program began in response to the increased number of wanderings and elopements that we were having involving that community, meaning people that were wandering from safe locations. So that's how the program began. But now it's since expanded, and we provide a layered approach to safety through education, follow-up, outreach, empowerment, and response. Part of our outreach program is this new initiative that we recently started with our fire rescue. And it's a county-wide and nationwide initiative. It's called Dementia Friendly America. And for us, it's Dementia Friendly Montgomery County. And what came of that was a new collaboration between Montgomery County Police's Autism, IDD, Alzheimer's Dementia Outreach Program with our fire rescue. And we needed to come up with an idea or a way to disseminate information for fire rescue so that we could even provide outreach more extensively. So we worked with fire rescue and we came up with our Wandering Safety Kit. This is part of our outreach. The kit is designed to be distributed by law enforcement and fire rescue personnel to family members if they feel that that individual is at risk to wander or elope. What the kit does, it's really simple. It's just 2 pieces. What the kit does is when the family receives the kit, they will be instructed to complete the information inside of the kit ahead of time that's specific to their loved one. So that information is collected when the caregivers aren't under stress. The description of the individual, places they may travel to. So the information is gathered, and the family members will keep this kit with the file of life on the refrigerator. So in the event that they need to call fire rescue or they need to call the police because their loved one has wandered from the home, they are able to have information readily available that was gathered when they weren't under stress to provide to the 911 dispatcher. The kit also provides our safety information, very simple information, preventative information, so that family members can have those measures in place to prevent the wandering or elopement in the first place. So it says install an alarm of some type, have an ID bracelet. We'll talk about the ID bracelet in a second. Notify the neighbors and make sure that any information is gathered in the 911 script ahead of time. On the back of the kit are tons of resources. It has our phone number for our Alzheimer's Dementia Outreach Unit through Montgomery County Police. information from fire rescue, from Health and Human Services. There's a lot of information in here that could be very useful for caregivers. So now let's talk about the ID bracelet. Why do you need an ID bracelet? About half the time in Montgomery County, police officers or fire rescue personnel will locate the missing person with dementia, before family members even realize that they're missing. So that can be difficult for us to make sure that we're able to get that loved one back home. So we've come up with this ID bracelet. And the ID bracelet has a piece in it that pulls out, and family members can write in Sharpie or some type of indelible pen that allows them to put a cell phone or a contact number for a loved one. This goes back into the bracelet, and then the bracelet is put on the loved one and worn continuously. Officers are trained, fire rescue is trained to look for this bracelet, and it helps us get that loved one back sooner. So this is our kit, and if you ever need any help or assistance, please feel free to contact myself, Officer Lori Reyes, or any of the other resources that are on the back of this card. We're here. We're a tool. Call on us. We're here to support you.
Hi, welcome back to Connecting Our Community. We're talking about a really fascinating concept that totally is different for working with people of a certain age, older people. It's called age-friendly communities, and I'm going to ask Marcia, how does it work? How do you get what it is to be done to be done?
Well, we had the initiative spearheaded by our Commission on Aging, our county executive, our county council, and then our community partners. Our county executive has convened 2 summits in recent years, one in 2008, one in 2015, and we brought in a lot of people to help us find out what people want, what they need, where the gaps are. And then he has an advisory group made up of department heads of the county government and outside partners from the community. And they work with work groups in 10 different domains. I'll try to remember what they all are and tell you. They are civic and social involvement, communications and outreach, elder abuse prevention, employment, health and wellness, home and community-based services, housing, planning, outdoor spaces and buildings, senior public housing, and transportation and mobility.
These are people from the community, from the government, from the county council and whatever, who are broken into these particular groups?
They work in these work groups, and they come up with priority missions, and their mission statements are established. They have priorities that they schedule out over. We're just about finished our first 3 years, and they change and evolve as situation changes. New opportunities and so forth.
And I was actually just going to ask that, over the 3 years, is this the current age-friendly community what you had envisioned 3 years ago? Has it changed in some way that you weren't expecting?
You know, new opportunities can crop up, and you certainly take advantage of them when they do. You know, things that maybe you hadn't thought of come up that you can do that you hadn't planned. But basically, these groups set out to do certain things, year 1, year 2, year 3, and they're doing really, really well, and they've done a lot of accomplishments. They've done a lot of wonderful things in the first 3 years, and now we're just starting to plan for our next group of years, however long that will be.
And is it that way? Is it, okay, for 3 years we try to do this, and then for 3 years we try to do this, and then is it that, or is it, no, we've passed the 3-year mark and now it's...
Oh, no. I think we'll always build on what we've been doing and look for new and wonderful things that we can do in the future. We're always looking forward to what we can see out in the future that we're going to need to address or want to address.
Yeah. Is there one big thing that if you were doing this all again, that you might change something in the way you've done it, or that you want to change?
I think it's been managed really, really well. These groups have been really, really active and inventive and creative and productive. So I think it's been managed really well so far. So I'm not looking to change it right now.
And do you have any idea of how many people are involved?
There are about, well, I guess between the advisors and the work, well, it's probably about 40 to 50 people between the advisory group and the work groups. A lot of them are the same
And
people.
how about people who receive these services?
Oh, I couldn't begin to
That's
tell
the
you
whole
that.
county.
It's the entire
the whole
county.
county.
The
Well,
entire
there you
It's the
go.
entire county.
benefits.
Oh,
Because
wow.
we're talking about traffic lights, we're talking about public safety, we're talking about people
Open
who use the libraries,
spaces.
people who use the senior centers,
Wow.
pedestrian safety.
Yeah.
It's
Employment for older adults.
right. Yeah.
And
training.
before I get to Lily, traffic lights?
Well, if you are an older person who's tried to cross the street and get a third of the way across when the light changes, you
Yeah.
might want to have that looked at. So, yeah,
Wow.
pedestrian and parking lot safety and people walking through parking lots. And
Wow. That's something I never would have thought about. So you've changed the timing on the traffic lights to allow pedestrians
they've
to...
changed the signs of the street signs so that they're more visible.
Wow.
They do a lot of things. I'm sure I haven't even touched on
Yeah.
most of them.
That's fascinating to me that someone is thinking in those minute
Yes.
increments of we need this, we need... That's fantastic.
And we heard from our seniors, this is what we need. So.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
There's somebody listening. That's
Yeah.
great. And then we move to Lily. You're dealing with a different slightly population than those seniors who are still staying in their homes, still active and involved and all of that. Yours is a different kind of initiative. So tell us about that.
Dementia friendly, where it's different is sadly many people do experience cognitive changes associated with either Alzheimer's or dementia. And the Dementia Friendly Initiative is focused squarely on the ramifications of those illnesses. And the programs that we develop are looking at both their comfort and quality of life and those of the caregivers. Generally, people who are still living in the community in their own family home have a caregiver. Could be a spouse, a family member, a friend, member of a congregation, a neighbour. And so the Dementia Friendly Initiative is really going deep into how can we as a community be aware of really what it's like to have dementia, and how could we maybe adapt some of our brisk behaviours to be more receptive and caring. And a lot of it we put into this area of customer service. That if you run a business, if you work in a bank, if you are a county employee, there is a chance that someone is going to cross your path at least once a week who is experiencing dementia or caring for someone with dementia. And it can really make the difference of a bad experience for the resident, the consumer, if the employee, the customer service representative is more looking at wanting to finish that interaction with the person quickly rather than actually just slowing things down a little bit. And so the Dementia Friendly Initiative is providing in-workplace educations. We're going out into congregations and helping those faith communities understand, what does dementia mean? It's not scary. Those people aren't going to hurt you, but they're going to benefit by you as their interaction being present. And especially in customer service, the majority of people are living at home still. So that means that's a huge economic trigger if a family caregiver goes into, say, a restaurant or a supermarket and the service is shoddy. And so that caregiver will actually choose to go elsewhere. So we're going into those workplaces offering free training, so then customer service representatives can understand just how to adapt their behaviour So it's a win-win.
Yeah. Well, just speaking on a personal level, the gym that I go to there's a gentleman there who has dementia. His wife brings him in. We all know that, yes, it's good for him to be there, but he's a little bit scary to us. He yells out things, and, you know, if we didn't know that he had dementia, we would just think, here's this guy yelling at us. So how does somebody tell the difference between somebody who's just rude and yelling at you and somebody who needs our extra special consideration?
That's a great point. So in the gym that you go to, I'm assuming that his wife has provided some kind of introduction, so you knew the lay of the land.
Well, we just sort of overheard him. It was never her taking him and saying, oh, hi, this is my husband, he has dementia. Hi, this is my husband, he has... It's just, you know, you hear people talking and saying, oh, that's the guy with dementia, you know?
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
so is there something that we should look out for? And
So you named a couple of things that sadly do affect people with Alzheimer's and dementia. There can be outbursts. Their behaviour can become a little erratic. And particularly in social settings, their filters of what we would traditionally call public behaviours, that becomes more blurred. So what we try to do is, through our trainings that we have developed with the Alzheimer's Association, is to help people, and it could be going to a gym and helping the staff actually understand what is the difference between a behaviour that is safe and okay to be happening within your business, and then maybe a behaviour where there really is a line drawn. And we actually teach people to really learn how to navigate that. But most importantly, for the business or the community centre to know that in Montgomery County, every public safety front-facing staff, whether it's a police officer, an EMS or a fire officer, they have all been trained to be dementia friendly.
wow.
So if a business is concerned and they're saying, this situation is becoming too confusing for us to navigate, and the person doesn't have a caregiver present, we encourage 911 to be called. 911 will usually send police. Oftentimes it's the fire department. They will come. They know how to sit with that person. They know the sort of questions to ask. And they can tell fairly quickly, this is someone with a cognitive issue. This isn't someone who is a threat.
Right.
And that training came from the Dementia Friendly Initiative.
That is fantastic, and probably everyone across the country, across the world, should have that kind of training. Unfortunately, there probably isn't the funding for that. And also, unfortunately, we're at the end of our show. It went by so quickly, and you both are fascinating. I want to thank you both for being here. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And if you want more information, you can call the Montgomery County Office of Aging and Disability Services. And for more information about Montgomery County's Dementia Friendly Initiative, montgomerycountymd.gov, and search Dementia Friendly. And montgomerycountymd.gov, search Age Friendly. And the Montgomery County Aging and Disability Resource Helpline is 240-777-3000. And this information will be posted on the mymcmedia.org website. Thank you again for joining us, Marcia and Lily. Really fascinating and great work that you're doing. We hope to see you again on our next episode of Connecting Our Community.